Transformers Earthspark is a show. A show I don't understand why it has a fan base. Originally, I thought the promo picture was ugly as heck. I did not like the animation style of this. But granted, it got better as the promos go on. And I started to kind of like the idea of the show. Like, the show itself wasn't a bad idea. The show would just be terrible and there would be forced political messaging. But as the show started to pick up to the promos, I started kind of liking the idea of Earthspark. And when the show came out, I was pretty impressed. I saw the first 2 episodes on Paramount Plus, and I thought it was actually quite interesting, and I wanted to see more. Unfortunately, I didn't have Paramount Plus at the time, and didn't feel like getting Paramount Plus because I already had Disney Plus, which won't be lasting very long because of their increase of the year subscription. But anyway, then we got to episode 10 where we started hearing about the new character, and episode 10 was automatically where the show just started to become garbage. Because, I'm going to get into that later. So why don't we start with the plot of the show? The plot is basically takes place after the Autobot and Decepticon war. And after the Allspark was either lost or destroyed, the Autobots plus Megatron form a human alliance with Ghost. And they also hunt down Decepticons throughout the show. Examples being like Hardtop, Swindle, Tarantulas, which I'll get into later, and so many more Decepticons. We even get Soundwave and Shockwave for some nostalgia. And this is a pretty good premise for a show. We don't have a lot of shows or media that takes place after the war. The only thing we got close was Transformers Robots in Disguise 2015, and not everyone's a fan of that show. And it's kind of interesting seeing this human alliance. It kind of reminds me of the Nest Alliance a little bit, but it has a different name, and also it's after the war, not during the war. So it's nice. So why don't we get into what I liked about the show? As I said, I liked the first 2 episodes. I thought they were pretty solid. I also liked they introduced an underrated character that nobody knows about except a small few, and that character is Hardtop, which is the twin brother of Combaticon Swindle. The one that helps form Bruticus. Yeah, and easily they are the best part about the show. I kind of wish that they didn't capture Hardtop right away, because Hardtop and Swindle's introduction into the show was amazing. Yes, we get Swindle throughout the show, but I'll get more into that later. And I will say, the opening fight was actually pretty good. I love the action in this show. It might even be better than Transformers Prime's action, but Transformers Prime is still superior in writing. Just gonna say it. I also kind of like the concept of not every human liking Transformers, to be honest. Like when it comes to things that happen in life, not everybody's going to be for it. Like, there are plenty of things that people are gonna like, and there are gonna be people that don't like. It's just how humanity works, and it's a nice concept. Like, yes, we know that the Autobots risk their lives to fight the Decepticons so Earth can be saved, but not everyone's gonna view it that way. And it's kind of nice to get this kind of perspective. Yes, I think it was a little bit on the nose, but I like the concept of it. I also like how they reference the T-Cog from Transformers Prime as their way of transformation. And according to some rumors, It sounds like we're going to be getting T-Cogs again in the new Transformers animated movie, Transformers 1. I cannot wait. Alright, that's about it for the positives. Now, unfortunately, it's time for the negatives. The negatives are so simple. The show, just after episode 10, just began to suck. And there were a few episodes that were pretty bad before episode 10. Like, of course, it's a kid show, and we're still going to have the elements of the new Nickelodeon kid shows having bad writing. But the show mostly got bad after episode 10, when the new Terrans got introduced. But I'm going to get into them a bit more when we get to characters. Also, as I said in my Optimus Prime rants about Earthspark Prime video, they just destroyed Optimus in this show. He acts nothing like Prime should be. I'll get more into that when we get to characters. Megatron becoming an Autobot makes no sense. Yes, I know the IDW comics introduce an Autobot Megatron, but again, I'll get more into it. They also force political messages into a kids show, which is nothing new, unfortunately, with the entertainment industry, because Lightyear did the exact same thing, because Hollywood just has to spread these messages everywhere. They can't even leave the kids alone with their political messaging, because reasons, basically. They also make Grimlock smart in this show. He's not stupid anymore. I don't get why. Why can't we have a stupid Grimlock again? Like, Cyberverse's Grimlock was kind of stupid. Yes, it wasn't to the capacity that it should have been, where he was completely stupid. But at least they made his T-Rex mode stupid. But anyway, why don't we get into the characters? For the characters, why don't we start with the new ones? Twitch and Thrash were interesting, but as the show went on, they started to get annoying. Like, seriously, they really got to get on my nerves. Then let's get into Jawbreaker. Oh my gosh, I hate this character. I really hate him. I get what they were trying to go for. They were trying to go for a guy who looks all big and tough and strong and is just really a softie. I get that. I get that because I'm a big, tall guy who looks scary, even though I'm a giant teddy bear in the inside. But personally, I think Bulkhead does this better because Jawbreaker's just too much of a wimp. Like, he is basically a wuss. I think Bulkhead did the giant teddy bear thing a little bit better. Like, yes, Bulkhead was a big guy and he could be sensitive, but he knew how to do some real damage if it was necessary. He wasn't like, oh, big battle, scary. Like, no, Bulkhead knew when to take action and when to be tough. Jawbreaker is just, no. Like, he'll fight, but he's mostly a coward. And he drives me nuts. Then we get to Hashtag. What a laughable name for a Transformer. This is honestly the worst one. At least Jawbreaker is a cool name for a Transformer, but Hashtag, it's so bad. When I think of Hashtag, I think of the people online that view social media as real life, even though it isn't, and just spend their whole lives on a phone instead of getting, a job. And then we get to Nightshade. Oh, why me? Okay, I'm gonna be completely honest. Nightshade is the worst one. Nightshade is the most blandest character in existence in this show. Nightshade is more blander than Revenge of the Fallen Jolt. That's how bland Nightshade is. But no, we have to like Nightshade because they are they-them, which is a stupid argument. Without getting into the forced propaganda that they put in the show by adding Nightshade in, just Nightshade isn't a good character to to represent. Like, you can believe whatever you want, but Nightshade is not a good character. It has no personality. But the defenders of Nightshade are going to say, oh, Nightshade's a scientist. So, bam, Nightshade is a good character. But the problem is that we have better scientist characters in Transformers. Like Wheeljack, Shockwave, G1 Brainstorm, a little bit of Tarantulas and Rhinox from Beast Wars. Like, there's probably more scientist characters that I'm not aware of. But Nightshade is just not interesting. Like, Nightshade has no personality at all. When Nightshade talks, I'm just bored out of my mind. Like, there's nothing unique about Nightshade. And people are going to say being they, them is unique and a great personality, even though just because you have a political gender or whatever it is, doesn't mean you're a good character. The problem is when they add stuff like this into shows, they mostly focus on, oh, I'm this, and not, like, what I'm trying to say is, they basically focus on the politics of it, like, oh, we did this, and we did this, and I'm like, okay, so why should we like them? Because they're this, and then, like, no, you can't just be this and expect us to like it right away, because you gotta earn our respect. You can't just be a bland character and expect everybody to love you. I'm sorry, it's the truth. Like, that's why a lot of people don't like a lot of the characters that are in modern TV shows or movies, is because they focus on what they are instead of the personality the characters could be. Like, the struggles, what makes them special. You get what I'm saying? Like, they have no personality whatsoever. Because when you force politics into the show, unfortunately writers are going to just say, oh, we added this character of this race or gender, and you're just supposed to like them, and if you don't, you're a terrible person, and you should be condemned, arrested, or so on and so forth. Like, it's so stupid. Like, they just want to favor these kind of things and not put good writing into it, because they're focused on that and forgetting that, oh wait, I need to write. And then we get into the problem with it being in a kid's show. Like, this stuff should not be in a kid's show. Like, what is wrong with you? I'm just gonna say, what is wrong with you to add stuff like this into kid shows? We should honestly have a law saying there should be no politics in kid shows. And I'm not talking about, like, in-universe politics, like the Star Wars prequels, or even the politics of Transformers. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about politics that are in the real world. Like, you can get inspired by politics in the real world and twist it in your own way, but don't insert, like, Me Too or whatever messages into kid shows, because it's ridiculous. But why don't we move on from the new guys and go to the old nostalgic characters? So let's start with the worst one, Optimus Prime. As I said in my Earthspark, Optimus Prime rants about Earthspark video, they completely destroyed Optimus Prime in this show. He acts nothing like Optimus Prime should. Again, when would Optimus Prime want to post emojis during missions, or think that a bot is calling Optimus Prime and gets an answer to be interrupted by the voicemail? Like, there's so many things that Optimus would not do that this one does. Now, I'm saying he doesn't have to be a super serious guy like he was in Transformers Prime. You could still have a fun Optimus, but just everything they do with this show is just destroying the name Optimus Prime. He's, as I said in my Optimus Prime rants about Earthspark Prime video, he is a cringy dad in a modern sitcom now. He's no longer the noble, heroic leader that would give guidance when needed. I'm going to pull up Peter Cullen's quote, what his brother told him, to prove my point. And then also play clips of the Earthspark show to prove my point.
My brother Larry, a captain in the Marine Corps, had returned from Vietnam. He was a decorated Marine, and the Bronze Star with V and a couple of Purple Hearts. And we were sharing an apartment, going through a difficult time in my life, when Larry came down, and it was about 1984, and we were, as I said, living in an apartment together. And he would always take a little interest in where I was going every day, because I was a grunt, as the Marines would say. You know, if you're a ground trooper, you're a grunt. Anyway, Larry's 13 months older, 5 inches taller. And, but we're 13 months apart. We were very, very close. So he said, "Peter, where are you going today?" I said, "Well, Larry, what, you need the car?" He said, No, I just want to know where you're going." I said, "I'm going to audition. I'm going to be, I'm auditioning as a truck." And he said, he did the same thing. And so I said, "But Larry, evidently he's a hero truck. He's a hero." And his face got somber, and he said, "Peter, if you're going to be a hero, be a real hero. Don't be a Hollywood hero type with all the BS and all the yelling and screaming and trying to be tough. Be strong enough to be gentle." "Okay, Larry, yeah."
This is Optimus Prime.
Optimus, finally! I've been calling you all day. Because I'm having trouble with the Terrans. They don't respect me. They don't listen to me. They're not interested in my training. How can I fail such a simple assignment? Maybe all that time in hiding made me less of a hero, or...
Gotcha! I'm probably off on a mission. Leave a message.
I think that one clip proves my point exactly. Alright, well, let's move on to characters. Let's get into the big bad, or the original big bad of the Transformers, Megatron. You're probably wondering, D to B, what you said earlier, what do you mean Megatron becoming an Autobot makes no sense? Now, don't get me wrong, I didn't hate this Megatron at first, and I kind of liked the idea of them basing it off the IDW Megatron, which in the end became an Autobot. And also, I really like his vehicle mode. I had a bit of an issue with the head. That would probably be the only thing I would complain about this Megatron, is the head. Well, besides what I'm going to get into. But let's get into it. So, a good guy Megatron is nothing new. Again, Megatron was a good guy in the IDW comics, in the More Than Meets the Eye comic series, which also introduces one of the best comic book Transformers in existence, Tarn, which I got the Transformers Legacy figure recently, and I love it. But continuing on, you're probably wondering, but what's wrong with him? Well, the reason I started to kind of not like Earthspark Megatron was his origin. So, originally the origin was established in the show that the ground bridge, after the ground bridge being destroyed, Megatron suddenly became a good guy, which I found weird. But then as I watched more of the show, I come to find out the real reason Megatron turned into an Autobot was because the Decepticons wanted to weaponize the Allspark, which, if you're a Transformers fan, you can already see the problem with this, because there are tons of Megatrons that did the exact same thing and didn't change to a good guy at all. Let's compare Earthspark Megatron to the 2007 Megatron. The 2007 Megatron wanted the Allspark for the exact same thing. He wanted the Allspark so he can create an army of unstoppable Transformers. And his hunger for power was what ended up killing him. Or let's bring up Transformers Cyberverse Megatron, which wanted the Allspark for his own selfish deeds. And also, if I'm not mistaken, in Cyberverse, they used the Megatron, or an alternate version of Megatron, used the Allspark to create their version of Tarn as an army. And then let's also bring up the Netflix trilogy Megatron. I know, everyone's least favorite. Personally, I didn't hate the Cybertron trilogy that much. It wasn't great. Earthrise was definitely the worst show out of the trilogy. I think we could all agree with that. Earthrise was terrible. I need to review Earthrise because it is not a good show. And I would love to talk about why it sucks, in my opinion. But Megatron wants the Earthspark as well. Granted, I think his motives are a little bit different for the Earthspark, because probably to bring his planet back to life. But you get my point. All the other adaptations of Megatron that had the Allspark, Megatron wanted to use it and weaponize it to rule the entire universe. Why is this Megatron like, oh, you guys want to weaponize the Allspark? That's bad. I'm going to switch sides. Like, that makes no sense for a Megatron redemption arc. Like, in the comics, from what I've gathered, I haven't read everything in the IDW universe, but what I have gathered, Megatron was Megatron until, as the years went on, or stellar cycles went on, Megatron began to see himself as a monster and switch sides. I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, it was after Bumblebee had died in the IDW comics, where Megatron became a good guy, I think. I'm not too familiar with it, but I know a lot of key details of the IDW comic universe. But yeah, that origin made sense. This one doesn't. Like, using the Allspark for turning Megatron into a good guy makes no sense. Like, sure, I like the memorial that they came up with for the sacrifices between humans and Transformers in that one episode, which I'll probably get into. I just had to bring that up. It makes no sense. Alright, let's get to Bumblebee. He was I didn't hate Bumblebee at first, but he's definitely not the most interesting character in this show. Hey guys, welcome to my first edit of this video. So I forgot some key details. So Bumblebee, one thing I forgot to mention, I do admit I do appreciate them not going for the voiceless Bumblebee, because I have honestly gotten sick of Bumblebee losing his voice box. Just ever since the Bayformers, they've been repeating this plot line over and over and over again, where it's become tiresome. I'm glad we finally got a Bumblebee who didn't lose his voice box for once. Anyway, back to the video. Alita 1 was actually not that bad. I actually liked her personality. RC, same thing. Hardtop and Swindle. As I said, I love these two. I wish Hardtop was in the show much longer than he was. Yes, he did show up in a couple episodes later in the show, but I think the two worked so well together. Granted, Swindle is actually pretty good on his own as well. But still, I'd rather have had them together. Like brothers fighting side by side. I thought that was a cool dynamic in the first episode. Anyway, let's continue on. Soundwave, pretty cool design. I like the design of Soundwave. I like his jet mode too. But the problem is he didn't really do that much except that one episode. Soundwave became more of an afterthought after his episode. Then there's Shockwave. It's the exact same thing as Soundwave, where he didn't do that much in the show. Let's bring up Wheeljack. I liked how they did Wheeljack in this show. And I didn't actually hate the episode with Twitch, where Twitch was considering Wheeljack like a father figure since he created the drone that she scanned. Like, I didn't hate it. I actually kind of liked that idea for the episode. Well, before the Terrans started getting annoying. Then we got Breakdown. Now, yes, he came in an episode after episode 10 where I consider the show fell apart. But I had to say I liked Breakdown's personality. Granted, I think I like his personality a little bit more in Prime, but this had to be maybe my second favorite Breakdown, I have to say. And then we get to the last character that they introduced by memory that is a Cybertronian, Tarantulas. Now, I was not a huge fan of Tarantulas. Like, sure, there's nothing wrong with him, but I think the more psychotic personality that he had in Beast Wars was way more entertaining. Like, they just turned Tarantulas into a boring character in this show, and I didn't like that, because what made Tarantulas unique as a Transformer was his psychotic personality and his devious, treacherous schemes that he would do behind Megatron's back, and also being a double agent. Like, all these things made Tarantulas unique, and especially the voice. They couldn't even get the voice right. You're probably wondering, if you don't know too much about the comics, I don't know either, but I know a lot of key details, you're probably wondering, why is Tarantulas in this show? Because he's supposed to be a Predacon, which is the descendants of the Decepticons. So, in the IDW comic series, Last Stand of the Wreckers, never read it, but I know details, the character of Tarantulas makes a cameo in the Last Stand of the Wreckers comics, where he has captured the Wreckers, and as they think they've defeated Tarantulas, Tarantulas secretly had shrunk down and killed Roadbuster inside as he grew back. Yeah, pretty dark comics. I might have to read these. I've heard the Last Stand of the Wrecker comics are actually pretty good. But yeah, they clearly based it off of this. Oh, and I almost forgot. Grimlock. Grimlock, again, why can't they have a stupid Grimlock again? Like, Grimlock being stupid. That's the reason people liked the Dinobots, was because they were stupid and unique. Like, that's why people liked them. And now they're just boring Cybertronians now. They're just... Grimlock's just like everybody else. And especially since his second episode was so dumb in the show. But I will get into that. Alright. What? Oh, right. And humans. They were too. I didn't hate them at first, but again, they started to get annoying and got on my nerves. And, oh, I guess I could throw in Quintus Prime since he wasn't here. For what Quintus Prime was in the show, it was interesting. I like how they got Clancy Brown as Quintus Prime, because Clancy Brown is a great actor. I thought his voice worked well. Oh yeah, I guess that's another thing I liked, if I forgot to mention it. Quintus Prime was in the show. Again, we just need a show about the 13 original Primes now. People will watch it. I will watch it. I think it would be a great show to watch. But anyway. Hello, it's Editing D to the B here. I forgot some characters, so I'm going to go over the ones that I forgot. Let's get started with Nova Storm and Skywarp. I can't believe they gender swapped Skywarp. Like, seriously. I personally hate the concept of gender swapping. Granted, you could get away with it in Transformers because Transformers isn't one designated universe, it's multiple. That's what they are basing Legacy off of, is all the adaptations that the Transformers have went through. And this isn't the first time they've done something like this either. A while back in 2009, they did the same thing with Red Alert, where they gender swapped him. I'm not for the concept of it, but whatever. Let's get also into Starscream. Yeah, I completely forgot Starscream was in this show. So, It's nice to have Jeff Goldblum back as Starscream. The last time we had Jeff Goldblum as Starscream was Transformers Prime and Robots in Disguise 2015. So I'm glad they brought this legend back for Transformers. And you could say how they executed Starscream was unique. Because in Transformers Earthspark, Starscream is executed as a abused victim by Megatron. And I guess it's an idea, but unless if there's some details that were missing for Earthspark, besides Transformers Armada, Starscream has mostly deserved every single beating he's gotten from Megatron. I'm sorry. You have to admit, even if you're a Starscream fan, you have to admit Starscream did deserve every single beating that he got from Megatron, because he betrayed him like countless times. Like way too many times. Like, it's not a bad concept, but at the same time, when you think of all the adaptations of Starscream, you think, kind of deserved it though. Unless if it's something similar to Armada Starscream. In this universe, Starscream was loyal, but Megatron just wanted to beat him for no reason, then I guess you could get away with that. But I'm guessing, since they went for the G1 introduction-ish type intro in the first 2 episodes, I'm guessing he's still the treacherous, conniving Starscream that he always was. Then Rumble, it's the exact same thing as Skywarp. Why? But anyway, let's continue on back to the main video that isn't this edit. But anyway, let's continue on with dumb plot lines. So in dumb plot lines, I'm going to go over some, again, by the name of the title, dumb plot lines in the show. I want to start with the Grimlock episode. As I said, I'm not going to review all 25 episodes because that would just kill me. And you better attend my funeral. There's no way I'm reviewing 25 episodes in this video. I'm sorry, that would take me forever, and I think you wouldn't hear from me for days. Because reviewing all 25 of those episodes would absolutely kill me. Because about a big portion of them are really bad. If it took so long to review 8 episodes for Ahsoka, a Disney Plus series that has 8 episodes, then Earthspark would definitely kill me in reviewing all of that. But anyway, let's continue on with the Grimlock storyline. So, the second episode Grimlock appeared in, after the events of the first episode he appeared in, where he was abducted by Mandroid and brainwashed to do a battle arena so Mandroid can get more limbs. And after Grimlock escaped, the next episode, Grimlock is immediately found by the Autobots, and Grimlock had built a bond with the character Jawbreaker, which, as I said earlier, I'm not fond of that character at all because he's too much of a softie. And something that happens in the episode with them bonding is Jawbreaker finally finds his first vehicle mode. Okay, I could say also I actually liked a bit of the conflict of choosing a vehicle mode and getting other Transformers perspectives on finding a vehicle mode. That was pretty cool. But anyway, he finds a vehicle mode, he scans it, or should I say a beast mode. And Alita 1 says, how do you do that? How'd you do that? But because you can't scan from bones. Alita, yes you can. Transformers Beast Wars established this in the first episode. Unless if the show is saying that Earthspark takes place, that the Maximals and Predacons descended from the Terrans and not the Autobots and the Decepticons in their universe. Well, if there are even Maximals and Predacons in their universe, they're probably on a planet. But then Jawbreaker goes and reactivates Grimlock's mind control from Mandroid, which causes a rampage in the city, and then Jawbreaker is trying to break him out of it like they're best friends and everything. Like, dude, you knew him for like a day. Why? And why does he listen to Jawbreaker? They're not even friends. They met each other for one day. It would have made more sense if the other Dinobots tried getting him out of his trance, because he's known the other Dinobots longer. Unless the Dinobots don't exist in this universe except Grimlock. That would be extremely stupid. Anyway, there's also a bunch of dumb kitty episodes in the show that I think they basically show themselves how bad they are. So let's get into the final arc of this. So in the last couple of episodes, Optimus Prime discovers that Ghost has been keeping secrets from the Autobots and Megatron. And one of them is Mandroid is in the Ghost headquarters working for Ghost. Well, not at first. Kind of. So at some point they picked up Mandroid and they want him to help take over the world. And surprisingly enough, but not really, eventually Mandroid betrays Ghost and becomes a weird cybernetic alien thingy with 2 Sharkticon minions. Now this is something I didn't expect. I didn't expect them to bring the Sharkticons in. And I have to say, the Sharkticons were definitely the best part about the episode. I actually liked these 2. If they did toys of these guys, I would get them because they were the only good thing about the final arc in the show. But anyway, let's continue on. This is about where I was done with the show, because the show was starting to get irritating and boring. Basically, the plot of the final episode, after Mandroid takes over Ghost and has the Sharkticons basically hunt down the Terrans and their family, the Multos, and they hunt them down one by one-ish. And then they eventually defeat Mandroid, and everything's happily ever after Decepticon and Autobot team up. And that's the show. And I could totally see Mandroid coming back. People are saying that Mandroid shouldn't come back and they should think of a new villain, but I think they're going to bring Mandroid back because who else are you going to do in Earthspark? And also, lazy writing. So yeah, I have no doubt that they're going to bring Mandroid back to be the main villain of Season 2. Now let's get to my final conclusions. This show was terrible. It started off pretty decent at first, in my opinion, but as the show went on, it began to show its flaws and bad writing. The show just became unenjoyable. I hope the show gets canceled and after Season 2 so we don't get more of this, but again, we don't know what's happening yet with that. But yeah, that's my thoughts on Earthspark. I had to give it a 2 out of 10. There are a few things I liked in the show, but not a lot. Anyway, this is D to the B, signing off.